Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Thoughts of a King. It's your boy, John Freeman, aka The King. We got a special one today. This one's going to be a big dose for me of I told you so from a lot of people. So, I'm into technology. I'm pretty versed. And when I mean versed, it's not like I'm a novice to it. I read the stuff, online. I get hands-on stuff about it as well. For a very, very long time, I have been an Android user. And when I mean Android everything from my phones to my tablets, to my smartwatches, everything. Recently though, I made a change from Android to Apple. Everything Apple. My phone, my smartwatch, my tablet, my headphones. And for me, that's kind of like a departure because since I've always been an Android user, on one hand, I've always kind of just crapped on Apple. If Apple came out and did something, I'm like, oh, Android did that first. Or, I always went over the some nuances on why Android was always superior to iPhone. But here I am, years later, switching. And in this video, I'm going to be explaining why I switched from Android to iPhone, or from Android to Apple, to be more precise. This is going to be a fun video for all my friends and family who told me so. My cousin Eddie, for one. Hopefully he's watching. Eddie, this is a shout out for you. You literally told me that I was going to switch one day, and here it is. So, let's dive into it, and I'll give you my reasons, for why I switched to Apple and why I'm so happy so far. Okay, so before we get into my reasons for why I switched, let's go into a little bit of history. When I mean I've been an Android user for a very long time, I remember my first Android device, it was the G1, exclusive to T-Mobile. When that phone came out, I was super excited. I went from a Sidekick to the G1, running an Android platform. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And from there, it just increased. It went from a short stint with BlackBerry. Let's not talk about that. But let's go over the phones I've had. I went from the Droid 1, 2, 3, and the 4. Then I went to the Droid HD. Then from Motorola, I went to LG. I've had the G2, G3, G4, G5 for a little bit, and then I had a short stint with G6. G6 gave me problems, then that prompted me to then jump to Samsung. Then I got my first Samsung device, believe it or not, which was the S7. Then went from the S7 to the S8. I skipped the S9, and then I had the S10, and then I had the Note 10 Plus. Between the S8 and the S10, for the first time I tried out an iPhone. I had the iPhone 10. And when that phone came out, I was like, wow, this is actually different. And for the longest time, I crapped on Apple for not being different or not changing. But when they came out with the iPhone 10, I was like, you know what? This is my time to actually give it a shot. And for the time being I tried with the phone, it was a pretty pleasant experience. It was my first time getting the iPhone, using it, and then getting the Apple Watch as well, which is one thing I really like from the Apple, ecosystem, is the Apple Watch. Then the S10 prompted me to then give up on Apple and switch back to Android. And then I went from the S10 to the Note 10 Plus. So that was a little bit of background, and then working for a cell phone company, my work phones are also Android as well. So, the HTCs, some more LGs, Motorola, etc. My tablets, primarily either Samsung, Asus, or Google. So I have a pretty extensive background when it comes to Android, and Android has been my primary device of choice. Anytime a new iPhone came out, didn't give it any attention, didn't give it any mind. Always was looking forward to the newer Android device. Nowadays, I see myself getting excited for anything that Apple has to offer. And the reason being I realize I'm older now. I really don't care about all the gimmicks and all the super flashy things that, some of the, high-end Android phones come out with. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't care about the gimmick stuff anymore. I just want a functioning phone. We'll definitely talk about, some certain reasons for why. Let's talk about one. Let's talk about social media stuff. So, for example, ever since switching to the iPhone from an Android, I do notice that, my daily apps that I use, Instagram, Facebook, let's see, what else? Snapchat, now that I'm back on Twitter, promoting my page, Twitter, they all seem to run fluently on iPhone. And that prompted me one night to actually look up the reasons for why that some of these apps just run better on iOS than it does on Android. And when I looked it up, it's because, say for example, app developers only have literally like 3 iPhones to work on that work on the same operating system all the time. Then we jump onto Android side. Android gives you the big world that you can explore your options when it comes to what you want to use, what size phone, what does it look like, and everything like that. Then you have your big hitters. You got Samsung, Motorola, LG, you got Huawei, you got a plethora of Android devices. You know how hard it is for app developers to come out with an app that seemingly works with each and every one of those phones. And every time an app developer has to do that, sometimes, and it happens because I've seen it and I experienced it on the phones, I just never paid it any attention until now. Those apps seem to crash a lot because they have to work on the frequency of so many phones. When on Apple, you only have to work on just a few phones, 3. And they got the tablets and everything, but they all run on the same operating system. So it's really not that hard for us app developers to be like, oh, yeah, that's no problem, we do that. But then app developers like, oh, I gotta make a app for LG, Samsung, Motorola, and then Motorola has 18 phones coming out this month, and Samsung has 14 coming out this month. If I'm wrong on that, if any Android users want to, put in a comment section of if that's true or not, but that was just my experience. And I do see that, with the iOS systems, some apps just do work a little more fluent. That's one of the reasons. Now let's talk about the ecosystem. One thing I give Apple a lot of credit for is their ecosystem is very friendly to each other when it comes to devices. So say for example, I'm recording this right now, and shooting 4K on my iPhone 11 Pro Max. Once I'm done shooting this, I will then airdrop every video that I record onto my iPad Pro, and from there I'll be able to edit, and then from editing there I can just upload it. I find that very convenient. I'm a person sometimes 50-50 wants instant gratification, and being able to literally take everything I've just recorded on this to move it onto my iPad is literally one of the best feelings ever. Trying to do this on, say for example, I had some videos on my Galaxy Note 10 Plus that I wanted to save on my tablet. So conventionally speaking, I can use Google Drive or Google Photos. I would have to upload them onto Google Drive, and then I have to go onto my tablet and download them. You have to take those extra steps, which really shouldn't be an extra step if we really want to think about it. Samsung's one of the most leading, manufacturers of phones and products out there. Their devices should be able to talk seamlessly to each other, like the iPhone products do. So that's one of the consensus. I could be wrong there if there's some other ways I could have done it, but I've tried them out a lot of times, and doing it that way was usually the most convenient way of doing it, other than using a Type-C thumb drive from each other, put it on a thumb drive and then put it into my tablet, which I find myself doing that a lot, especially if I wanted to watch like any movies or anything like that from either my tablet to my phone or my phone to my tablet. Either way. But airdropping is very convenient. Speaking of convenient, you know what else is very convenient? Text messaging on an iPhone. iMessage to be exact. I've now turned into one of those people that every time I see a green bubble, I go, you ain't got an iPhone? Bruh, come on now. But, you know, people still have their preferences when it comes to phones, and I have to be okay with that. It's not that I have to be okay with that. It's just something that I just have to be like, okay, whatever. I used to be that guy too, so I'm pretty sure whenever I text somebody, when I had my Android devices and they had an iPhone, they saw the green bubble, they probably thought the same thing. But that's just one of the things, like, you know, it's one of those things like, oh, you're a green bubble, I shouldn't talk to you. That's besides the point. I noticed that on my Note 10 Plus that when I got pictures from anybody or videos from anybody, pictures came in blurry. And if I wanted a full-length video, like maybe like a minute or 30 seconds, they always came in grainy. So I would have to ask the person who sent me that if they can send it to my, say, you know, my Facebook Messenger or my WhatsApp so I can see the picture clearly. I have to wait for it to download it, and watch it. It's very convenient to have an iPhone that just shows you what the video is. I don't have to download anything. I don't have to, you know, ask somebody to use another app. I can just do it that way. FaceTime on an iPhone is very convenient too. For anybody who has like an iPad or an iPhone, FaceTiming somebody is very easy. On my old phone, I used to use Google Duo all the time. If somebody wanted to call me, Google Duo. My mom has a Samsung phone and she uses WhatsApp to call me like on a video call. You know, and that's perfectly fine. But I think iMessage and FaceTime is just a little more convenient. And the emojis on an iPhone, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're a lot better on an iPhone than they are on an Android device. Now there is a keyboard that you can download that gives you, you know, the iPhone emojis, but sometimes they come in as question marks. Last time I checked, because I tried it on a Samsung device and it came in as a question mark. But on an iPhone, the emojis are just a lot better. So FaceTime, iMessage, emojis, a lot better. And this could be like nitpicking as well, but another reason that I switched, you know, from an Android to an iPhone is my car. I have a 2020 car, basically updated technology and everything. And plugging in my phone to use any of the features of, like, you know, either Android Auto or Apple CarPlay is night and day. Using Android Auto, I will admit, was probably the most frustrating thing ever to use in my car. When I plugged in my phone, so say for example, when I plugged in my device and I use, you know, Apple Music because it's included in my subscription for my phone plan, I cannot listen to Apple Music when I plugged it in. Now, if I unplugged it, use it through Bluetooth, it works. But when I plugged it in for, you know, like any GPS, anything like that, I can never use it. I know, first world problems, right? But when I plug in my iPhone, Apple CarPlay takes over. I can still listen to my music, get directions, answer phone calls and text messages all through the platform of my car. I know it's not like a big deal for a lot of people, but it's actually pretty convenient if you really think about it. You know, a lot of these cars nowadays don't come with GPS or, you know, maps, as they're called it, built into the car. Our maps are our phones. So since these devices are technically our GPS, we want them to work in the most efficient way possible. And for me to get my directions, listen to my music, you know, being able to pick up a phone call and a text message all within, you know, the confines of my car without, you know, having any hiccups like I did with Android Auto is fantastic. And on top of that, I don't know if anybody knows this. Well, people probably do know it. But when you're using, you know, the stock Apple's map, if you're wearing an Apple Watch, when a turn is about to come up, your watch will vibrate, so you never miss a turn. It's actually pretty convenient because sometimes when I'm in the mood and I'm sitting there, listen to a song and I zone out for a little bit, I'll probably miss a turn. But when my Apple Watch tells me to turn, I turn. So I'm good. Another, little subtle nuance, but it's actually pretty convenient to have, Apple CarPlay in your car work as efficiently as it does compared to Android Auto. Apple CarPlay isn't perfect, but I prefer it a lot more than Android Auto. Another thing I would say is a little bit better on an iPhone: security. So I'm not ashamed to say it, for years I've never put a pattern, a pin, iris scan, or any kind of facial recognition on any of my phones. None of them. Even when I had the iPhone 10, I never put Face ID on there. I never put a pin on there. I'm pretty careful with my phone. Knock on wood when I say that. Thank God for insurance. Everyone should have insurance on their phone. Public service announcement, by the way. I've always kept my phone on me. So literally, if I had my phone on the counter or on the desk or anywhere, you can literally pick up my phone, you can unlock it, and you're in my phone. For any of my apps, like my banking or my vault, anything like that, I had a passcode, but to get into my phone, never had a passcode. That all kind of changed a little bit when I, had the in fingerprint reader on the Note 10 Plus. I really wanted to try it. I was like, okay, well, let me put that on there. Let me see what it's like. And from then on in, I started using security on my phone. Now, of course, when I left that phone and went to the iPhone, I put a pin on there. Still wasn't using facial recognition. But I was like, you know what? Let me try facial recognition. And let me tell you, facial recognition is a lot faster than an in-fingerprint scanner. There. I said it. It's going to give me a lot of heat. But please, hear me out. For all those iPhone users out there who have a phone that is compatible or has Face ID, on it, you put your phone to your face, it reads it, unlocks, you swipe up, you're in your phone. Anybody else doing that, it's not going to go in. Then it's going to redirect you to put in the pin. You don't know what the pin is, you're fine. For anyone who's using a mask right now or wearing a mask, I hope everyone is wearing their mask when they go out. When you use your phone, everyone's frustrated because the Face ID doesn't work, so you have to put in your pin. But I'm going to tell you right now, that thing works flawlessly. It even works in the dark, which is great. Now, going back to my Samsung phone, I had to put my finger on my fingerprint reader a few times to get it to open. Like, sometimes it just wouldn't open, and then I had to press it and then it'll let me in. Now, in-ring fingerprint on the Samsung, that was like the first, for the S10s and the Note 10s, that was the first lineup. I'm pretty sure they got it a little bit better from the reviews. It could be a lot better than it is right now, but currently speaking, if I had to choose between the fingerprint or the iris scanner, if they still have it on the Samsungs, compared to the Face ID on an iPhone, conveniently, I'm picking the Face ID. It just works a little bit smoother. So those are some of the reasons for why I, a longtime Android user, switched over to Apple products. Now, doesn't mean I'm going to stick with Apple, for the rest of my life. No, the window is still open for me to go back to Android products. Again, this is not me turning my back on Android, just for everything that's going on in life right now. Convenience, functionality, optimization, everything. Apple is just doing it for me, and honestly, I don't feel bad about any of the purchases that I made for my 4 Apple products. Now, with that being said, I'm not buying a Mac computer. I'm still going to stick to my PC. PCs for me are going to be my main computer forever. But for right now, tablet, smartwatch, headphones, iPhone, Apple products. This has been another video, but from your boy the King on my channel, Thoughts of a King. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and for all my friends who I'm hoping is watching this, for those who have Apple products that I've made fun of in the past, I sincerely sorry. I really am. Now I understand why you stuck with the iPhone and continue to use it. Having the convenience of everything in the Apple ecosystem is fantastic. And then of course, people, if you like the video, like, subscribe, share, so we can continue to make videos and have some fun together. But this was my sorry Apple video. Tune in next week for another topic. But until then, it's your boy John Freeman, aka the King. Thoughts of a King. I'll see you soon.